What is 3 drinks you like? Are we talking what type of drinks?
Just vodka.
Vodka, straight vodka or mixed drinks?
Vodka and water, so I was staying hydrated, and drinking. Yes.
Did you understand what I told that you killed 2 people tonight?
Yes. I'm just wondering when I can go to school.
Okay, we're done.
All right, we're back with Kelly Moore and myself. We're going to be breaking down another video here. So you're going to see our live reaction to it. This one's from the Law and Crime Network. Now, we haven't seen this video, but I do see the title to it. So we know it's from Illinois. We like that because we're Illinois lawyers. So we know what the laws are here. But I see in the title it says a deadly DUI crash. So unfortunately, that does occasionally happen with a DUI, and it's a very serious consequence, and this is going to be perhaps a tough video to watch. So we're going to give you our reaction here as we go through it. All right, let's see what we got here.
Come over here with me, man, okay?
I called as soon as the shit happened. I
understand.
Like, this doesn't happen to me.
I understand.
I go to Bradley.
So here's what I'm going to have you do. If you can maybe help Pyro doing CPR on that one right now.
You tell me, I'm right here.
Okay, just hang tight right here. Has anybody gotten all your information?
CPR.
No one has. Someone, your friends have my license.
Do you have a driver's license?
Your friends have my license.
Okay, I'm just going to write it down here. Okay. Just let you know I got body cameras. Okay. What is your first name?
Stephanie
Middle initial?
I don't have one.
Okay, and last name?
Melgoza, Melgoza. Phone number.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you, were you leaving the bar or were you coming down the road?
I was coming.
Coming to a scene. It looks like it's kind of like on a rural road maybe, or at least not the highway. At least 2 cars it looked like, and officer right away was like render a CPR to somebody. So
yeah, we could definitely tell there was an accident. There was some damage to that red car, and already he thinks she's been drinking.
That's why I paused it, is because this girl is now, whether she knows it or not, of course there's a serious accident. What is this? It's only 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night. For sure, the officer's looking for signs of impairment, or even just, maybe who committed a traffic violation that resulted in this accident. So very, very much an investigation that's ongoing. And it just begun with some of those questions.
Okay.
I had just gotten my night started. So
were you going this direction or this direction?
I was coming this direction.
Okay, here's what I'm going to have you do.
Yes,
let's get away from the scene a little bit. Let them do their thing, okay? This is your car, right? The red car?
Yes.
You were the only one in the vehicle?
I'm the only one.
Okay, come over here to my spot car, okay? Do you have anything illegal on you?
Yes, I have marijuana in
your purse. Okay. Have you had any marijuana tonight?
No.
Admission.
Yeah, so, I just said that this is the beginning of an investigation. Is she obligated to answer any of these questions?
No. From a realistic standpoint, though, if she is impaired, she's going to get arrested and they're going to search her belongings and find it anyways.
Right. So the purpose of this video is not to, train somebody how to get out of a DUI. Right? If the evidence is there, someone's getting arrested. But the point here is for people watching just to kind of understand the mechanics of this and where they are obligated to do and what they're not.
Yeah, she's definitely not obligated to make that admission that she has illegal marijuana on her. If this is a really serious situation, she could be earning some favor with the officer being honest. I wouldn't recommend it, but it is kind of,
Yeah.
a good way to have a nice rapport with the officer.
It's tough. This early on, we don't know what happened. The officer's being pretty, polite and conversational with her. So I think most people are going to, answer the questions here, but they don't have to.
Right.
Car for me.
My vape too?
Yep. Set that down there.
And my phone?
And your phone? Yes, ma'am. All right, just come over here. Just put your hands on my car. He's got a pass search before I put you in my car, okay?
Okay, then.
No pockets or anything? Okay. All right. Until we figure out how we're going to handle this, I'm going to have you sit uncuffed in the back seat of my car. I'm going to get you out. We're going to probably do some field sobriety tests and all that. I got some more questions for you. Right now, I'm going to have you sit down just so we're out of the roadway, okay? Come right over here.
So that's interesting. I mean, would you argue that she's arrested there or no?
The officer says everything there to make it not seem like she's under arrest, right? Like we're just gonna have to sit down. I don't think that would hold up personally. There is a scene where people are rendering aid, it seems like.
I don't think any judge is gonna like grant your motion to suppress right now or a petition to rescind the statutory summary suspension saying that she's under arrest. I mean, I think that's exactly why he said those things like we're still investigating until we figure out what's going on. You're not cuffed. I don't think any reasonable person would feel free to leave. So technically I do believe she's under arrest, but I don't think any judge is gonna say that.
That's a gray area here because what the court is looking at and balancing here is, is this person actually under arrest? In other words, are they not free to leave? And I think that's true when an officer puts you in the back of a cop car. On the other hand, he has a duty to perform the investigation. He hasn't placed her under arrest yet because the investigation hasn't reached that point yet. So it's kind of this sort of strange balancing act that the court was going to look at, both sides of it.
Right. And I think, too, you have to give the officer an opportunity here to conduct an investigation. There's safety issues like making sure if anybody's hurt, are they getting the aid that they need, especially if you're kind of in charge, the officer in charge there.
It's conceivable that this officer, his better use of his time is to render aid, call an ambulance, provide CPR, or whatever. And so an officer is going to get some leeway.
Exactly.
On that. Yes.
Are you hurt at all or need medics yourself?
No, sir.
Because your car's pretty beat up, so I'm making sure.
Okay.
Are you bleeding anywhere?
No, I'm okay.
Was that little blood splatter on your hands maybe from your glass? I see you got glass cut all over you.
Do I?
Okay.
I think I'm okay.
Okay, all right. Hang tight a minute.
If I'm the officer there, I would have medics check her out.
Regardless.
Yes, because right now we think there's possibility she's under the influence of alcohol. She got into a bad accident. She's got glass all over. You wonder if her airbag's deployed. We as attorneys could make an argument that she hit her head.
Yep.
And that this behavior could be a result of that. So I'd have the medics check her out and have her refuse to them to cover himself.
It's a great point. He was honest about it. We're probably going to do some field sobriety test. She didn't trip and fall during that field sobriety test because she's drunk. It's because she was in an accident and hit her head, right? And an officer can eliminate some of that argument by having an EMT sort of verify that her vitals were good and that, she didn't suffer any head trauma.
Right, and she knows the year and the president and all that kind of stuff.
All those different things they go through.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
It's okay.
All right, so here's the deal. Just because I do have you in the back of a police car, I don't have you in custody or under arrest, but obviously you don't feel like you're free to go right now, right? So I'm just going to read your Miranda rights. You understand what they are, and we're going to talk about what happened on the accident.
I mean, then she is in custody.
Right.
You don't read Miranda unless you're both in custody and under interrogation.
That's true. I mean, he knows what's coming next. He's going to ask her a whole lot of questions. A misdemeanor DUI is one thing. Something that's serious, accident, fatality, then this trooper knows that this is a felony. In this case, it's going to be high stakes. I don't think there's anything wrong with him reading it too early. Though.
I don't think so either, but he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. He's like, you're not in custody, but you don't feel free to leave. And I'm going to read you Miranda because you are in custody.
That's true. That's true. But I think from an officer's perspective, he erred on the side of caution by reading Miranda right now. Yep.
Happened on the accident, okay? I appreciate you being cool. I understand this is pretty stressful. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have a right to talk to a lawyer before questioning, have him present with you while you're being questioned. Cannot afford to hire a lawyer, want to be provided for you before question, okay? Do you understand each of your rights? How do you say your first name? Stephanie. Okay. That being said, will you talk to me and explain what happened? Okay. All right, so explain in detail just what happened.
That's a mistake.
It is a mistake, yeah, for sure. I mean, we have the benefit of knowing sort of what we know. But yeah, I don't need to see anything else here. I know this is a serious accident, and I can tell you that right there is a mistake.
Yeah, she shouldn't be making any statements. And also, he's kind of giving her the opportunity to maybe reach out to an attorney. And then even before doing the fields, a lot of people don't get that opportunity.
Yep, exactly right. Yeah, she got read Miranda before doing the field sobriety test, which is unusual. I'm not blaming this girl for this decision at this point because 99 out of 100 people, I think, are just in a serious accident, are going to try to play nice, and the officer's playing nice with her. It's what happens, right? It's a policing tactic. But from a legal perspective, This case seems to be going somewhere.
Exactly. I mean, how many people call us after DUI and like, I was super cooperative. I did everything. I admitted I was drinking and I blew. And I'm like, okay, well, you were nice to the police officer, but you rendered your case indefensible.
Exactly. Right. DUI cases are complex, but generally speaking, at least here in Illinois, and this is an Illinois case, one is that you are driving or in control of the vehicle. The officer right away established that. Like, this is your red car. You were the one driving, right? And where were you coming? I was heading southbound, northbound, whatever. Okay.
Also, you were the only one in the car. Yes, I was the only one in the car.
Yep. So that part's done. Now there's only one thing to prove. One thing left to prove in a typical DUI case, and that is that they're either over the legal limit with a blood, breath, or urine test, they're over the .08, or that they're so intoxicated that they cannot safely operate the motor vehicle. And that's the only element left to prove in a typical DUI. What needs to be proven in a DUI case is not all that complex.
Right.
Safe?
Agree. Yeah.
Yeah, safe to say. All right.
The accident.
I was coming to full throttle, and I was almost here, as you can see.
Were you driving this way or that
I
coming
was
down that
coming
side road?
here, this way.
Okay.
This way. And suddenly, one person walked out in front of me,
Okay.
and my car got hit. I called you as soon as they got hit.
You called 911?
Yes, I called 911 as soon as something happened. And then someone said, oh, someone else has hit. I'm just like, oh my God, how did that happen?
Okay. What happened when you hit the one person? What happened?
I just called you. That's all I know.
Okay.
I called you.
Did they fall down right away, or did you get out and help them, or what happened?
I got out, I called you, and then everyone else came out, so I like kind of just let them
Okay.
come and take over the situation.
Okay.
But I promise you, like, I only know one person got hit, and I'm just like, they came out of nowhere because I am a safe.
How the accident occurred certainly matters, right? For a civil lawsuit.
It matters for the felony because the state has to prove that her intoxication was the proximate cause of the accident that led to the injuries.
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. But it doesn't for the DUI.
Correct.
We have a case like this, you're familiar, where this person committed absolutely no traffic violations. Truly, somebody ran out in front of them. There was an accident reconstruction, that happened. It was shown that this person driving committed no traffic violations whatsoever. But they had something in their system, so they still got a DUI.
Right.
So I just want to kind of lay these issues out. Yeah, there's two things that the officer's figuring out. Is both what caused the accident, is this the cause of the injuries, all those things, but also, do we got a DUI here?
Right. Yeah, and I'm curious about the road too, to like try and determine if her story is adding up. Like,
Yeah.
Would it be reasonable to be like, yes, these pedestrians came out of nowhere. You don't expect that on a highway, or is this like your run-of-the-mill town road
Right.
that you would expect a pedestrian?
Yep.
If you had to estimate, how fast were you going when you hit the person?
I would say I was going at least 40.
At least.
At least.
More
Not
than
helpful.
Could have been 100, but at least 40.
Okay. All right. Do you think you were going too fast for this area at the time with the darkness?
I honestly don't think I was going too fast because I try to be precautionary about where I'm at.
Okay.
But I just
That would be
know
an
that
admission.
one person came out of nowhere.
Did you have your headlights on?
Yes, sir.
Brights on, or just regular headlights?
Regular.
Okay. Okay. So obviously you saw them. It was no time to react, no time to stop?
No time.
Okay.
That's the word.
Okay. All right.
Word.
Where were you coming from tonight?
I was coming from Tavern 41 on Sterling Avenue.
Tavern 31 on
41.
Tavern 41 on Sterling and
Yes,
Peoria?
sir.
Okay. And you left the Tavern 41 and drove straight here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Over the course of the night, how much have you had to drink?
I probably had about 3 drinks.
What is 3 drinks? Are we talking, what type of drinks?
Just vodka.
Vodka? Straight vodka or mixed
vodka.
drinks?
Vodka and water, so I was staying hydrated, and drinking.
On it.
Like right now,
Staying hydrated,
if you
also
had me
low
do a test,
calorie.
I think I would pass. Just like, don't test me, but I think I would pass.
Don't test me.
So clueless, right? That is an insight into her state of mind, right?
Right.
No, like, we're playing cool. Don't test
Yeah.
me here. There's no doubt she's going to go through a battery of tests. And if she refused them, they would be seeking warrants for her blood, right?
Right.
Like, they're going hard on this.
I'm also wondering over what time frame she had these drinks, because like we said earlier, it's only 10:30, and she said, I'm just starting my night. So I feel like she was like on her way to another
Right,
place to
pregame
keep
or
drinking.
Yeah.
Speculation.
So we're proving the idea though that she should not be making these statements. Again, I get it; it's going to happen. I'm not trying to get her out of a DUI here. I'm really not. But this is a legal education we're trying to provide, and she does not have to make any of these statements. In fact, she was advised by the very police officer himself that she doesn't need to make any of these statements.
Exactly. I mean, we're just trying to show ways that she is not helping herself.
Right.
I'm going to be honest, we are going to do those tests here in a little bit because of circumstances, obviously, we have to, okay? How long ago was your last drink, would you say?
My last drink, I would say about 40 minutes.
40 minutes ago? Were you drinking anything while you're in the vehicle? Or was the last drink at the bar?
At the bar.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least drunk you've ever been, 10 being the most drunk you've ever been, where would you say you put yourself at right now?
5.
5?
Because I've been very drunk. And right now, like, I see you, I see everyone, I know the situation, you know what I mean? Like, I know I'm aware of everything.
Okay.
She just said she's not drunk because she sees the officer standing in front of her. And also she's been super drunk in the past.
Exactly. Terrible admission here. Let me give a public service announcement that if you had 3 vodkas and your most recent was 40 minutes ago, don't fucking drive. It has to be over hours and hours for you to not be impaired or over the legal limit too.
Right.
I don't know this girl. I've never seen her talk before, but it would appear, I think, to the common person, to a judge, that there are signs of impairment in her mannerisms and the way she's talking. But she's not like fall down drunk, hammered.
No.
You know what I mean? So this is still very much up in the air. Her statements are what are leading me to believe that she's over the legal limit because she just told you she had a vodka drink.
That, and it's like she's not grasping the seriousness of the situation. Like, you just hit a pedestrian and she's very casual in her tone. She's not like crying or freaking out, wondering. We haven't even heard her ask how the pedestrians that she hit are doing.
It's true. Yep, absolutely right. In fact, a real life case, the case we referred to earlier, where this person committed no traffic violations but did hit a pedestrian. That person was crying for hours.
In shock.
Yes, absolutely. Shaking. They had medical come, not because of the accident, but because this person was traumatized by the event that happened, which, is a lot more sympathetic than the way she's being right now.
Exactly.
You can just stand here in front of my squad car and face me. All right, just stand right here. What I want you to do is follow the tip of my pen. I'm going to move my pen back and forth several times. I want you to follow the tip of my pen.
Do you want me to like walk or just my eyes?
No, we're just doing your eyes right now. I want you to follow the tip of my pen with your eyes only, but keep your head still. I want you to continue that test till I tell you to stop, okay?
Okay, sir.
You
I'm
understand?
ready right now. Yes.
All right, touch the tip of my pen just so I know where you're... There you go. All right. That's what I want you to follow. Nope, keep your head still for me.
Oh, my head. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Just...
We've done this in every DUI video, but let's quickly go through what's this test?
Horizontal gaze nystagmus. They're looking for an involuntary jerking in your eye at different positions. This just tests for consumption, which she already admitted to. So what we're looking for as defense attorneys, can she follow instructions? Already no. She moved her head. How's her balance? Is she swaying? Can she stand up straight? And we're also looking to see if the officer performs the tests accurately.
In Illinois, other states are different. In Illinois, this test can only be used to show whether or not someone has consumed alcohol, not the level of intoxication that they may be displaying. So it's kind of a yes or no question that's trying to be answered here. But like Kelly said, there's some ancillary things. Like this person can't even stand up straight, right, while doing this. This person can't even follow instructions. They're, asking dumb questions or repeating themselves. Those things, unofficially can be, lead someone to the conclusion like, hey, she's intoxicated.
Right, especially on a totality of the circumstances.
Right.
Just your eyes. No, we're gonna try that again.
It's hard.
All right. Just,
Okay.
keep their head still for me.
She's still moving her head.
Yeah, she's doing terrible.
She's also like rocking back and forth.
Yeah.
It's so hard keeping my head still.
The best you can. Just follow with your eyes. Are you able to hold your head still without your hands?
Yeah.
All right. Just follow with your eyes, okay?
Fine, okay.
Keep following.
Yeah, and like the nervous laughter
Yeah.
doesn't play well.
Keep looking at to the
Again,
side.
her tone.
There you go.
It's like she doesn't even realize what's going on.
I see you.
She's not taking it seriously.
I'd rather
you
do
know?
the walking.
Okay, go up.
What? Did you hear
I'd
that?
rather do the walking test, she said.
I thought she said I'd rather do the walk and turn.
Right. Yeah, that's true. It might not be her first if she's using terms like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be another reason for it to be a felony, potentially, based on her background or...
Certainly. Yep. Status of her driver's license
Exactly.
at the time. But she is not taking this very seriously. She's like laughing with the officer. Obviously, that doesn't play well in court. But
Especially, like, you have to keep remembering what the title of this is. Like,
Yes.
we know people are dead.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly. And she's just not catching on
No.
here. But she's being investigated for a DUI where people died. You're going to prison. If you're convicted of this, your life has changed forever. And clearly, obviously those people are too.
Also,
And a lot of people affected by this. So
Right.
she just doesn't get the gravity of
Yeah.
the situation.
depending on the county and her background too, I mean, she could be sitting in custody while this case is pending. Like, this could be the last time she sees the light of day for,
Yes.
years and years.
Yep. Totally right. And she has
No idea.
clue. Maybe just being naive. Maybe she's never been in trouble before and just doesn't understand the gravity of it. The alcohol, I think, has to play
Absolutely.
a role here. It seems like maybe consistent with having a drink 40 minutes ago, right? Alcohol takes time to metabolize in your body and, to feel the effects of it. 40 minutes ago, and now she's out in the open air, you know what I mean? Lights flying. She may be just feeling that buzz now, you know
Right.
what I mean? And that's why the nervous laughter.
Right.
And
Especially if she had those three, like, back to back in close proximity, then her BAC has been rising pretty much since she got in the car.
Exactly. Could be spiking, now.
Yeah.
And that's why, no surprise, she's not going to do very well on these tests.
Yeah, that's one thing too that the officers indicate, like in the alcohol influence report, is unusual actions.
Yep.
And yeah, her attitude would definitely be an unusual action given these circumstances.
Absolutely.
Yep,
What I'm going to have you do is stand about right here, face my car. We don't have a line. We're going to pretend there's an invisible line straight from you to my license plate, okay? Can you see my license plate fine? All right, that's the area we're going to shoot for. We're going to walk towards that, okay? What I want you to do is put your left foot down first. Now put your right foot in front of your left foot with your right heel touching your left toe, just as I'm demonstrating. Go ahead and get in that position for me.
Yeah, so that's a sheriff's vehicle, so we don't know if it's the sheriff or the trooper.
Okay.
Giving the
What I want you,
instructions.
exactly as I'm demonstrating.
Either way,
Put
he's
your left
doing
foot down.
pretty decent
Now
so
put
far.
your right foot in front of your left foot, your right heel touching your left toe. Stay in that position while I explain the instructions. Do not begin until I tell you to, okay? Hands straight down your side. When I say you're going to take 9 heel-to-toe steps down the line, you're
This
going to
test
turn
has
around and
already
take
begun.
9 heel-to-toe steps back, okay?
She's always
When I say
already
you're
showing
going to take
indicators.
9 heel-to-toe steps down this line, you're going to turn around and take 9 heel-to-toe steps back. On your turn, I want you to keep your front foot on the line. Then you're going to use your other foot to turn yourself around with several small steps, okay? This is what it's going to look. This is what it's going to look like. This position
So
you're
before
in,
the
when
test
I
has
say
even
go,
begun, she can't stand in the instruction phase. She's not listening to instructions. She's interrupting him. She's asking the same questions over and over again.
Yep. She hasn't even taken one step yet. Oh, purposely one step. She's fallen off the position a lot, but she hasn't purposely even taken one step yet, and she's already got multiple indicators of impairment according to the rules of this test and the way it's supposed to be conducted.
When I say go, 1, 2, 3, on down to 9. Keep that front foot on the line. Use your other foot to turn yourself around with several small steps. Nope, stay in that position. Go back just the same. 1, 2, 3, and on down to 9, okay? Again, I just did 3 for demonstration purposes. I'm going to have you do 9 each way. During this test, make sure you watch your feet at all times. Keep your arms straight down your side. Count out loud so I can hear you. Once you begin the test, do not stop until you have completed the test, okay?
9, turn around.
Yes. Do you understand my instructions? All right, go ahead and begin the test, okay?
She said, I think so. He's supposed to have her say yes.
He is. Those arms out like a tightrope.
Yes, ma'am.
And turn around.
All right.
Yeah, that was not good.
If you're going to stand right here in front of me.
The only good thing I can say about that test is she didn't fall over.
Yeah.
But that's it. Everything else she failed on.
She literally showed every single indicator. Her arm, she stepped off the line, she's tripping over herself, improper turn.
Yep. An inability to follow instructions to hold the starting position.
Right.
Nah, no bueno.
If you're going to stand right here in front of me for the next test, go ahead and face me. Put both your feet together, arms straight down your side. This is called
Next
a
one's
one-leg
where she's
stand.
gonna stand with one leg.
Whichever leg you choose, I'm going to have you lift it approximately 6 inches off the ground with your foot parallel to the ground, holding that position once you count out loud for 30 seconds in the following manner: 1001, 1002, 1003, and so on, until you give it 30 seconds or until I tell you to stop, okay? During this test, make sure you watch your raised foot at all times. Keep your arms straight down your side. Count out loud so I can hear you. This is what it's going to look like. Position you're in, when I say go, you're just going to lift your foot up. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, and so on, till you get 30 seconds or until I tell you to stop. Do you understand?
Can I lift it like this?
No, ma'am, just as I demonstrated, okay?
Like just up?
Just as I demonstrated. Did you see my demonstration?
Okay, I did.
Just like this. Your foot
okay,
parallel to the
right.
ground.
Okay, I got it.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead and begin the test, okay?
Okay. 1,000, is that what it is?
Drop your foot, lift it right back up, keep going where you left off.
1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000, 7, 1,000, 8, oh no, 9, 1,000, oh, I can't do it.
Continue the test, okay?
10, 1,000, 11, 1,000, 12, 1,000, 13, 1,000, 14, 1,000, no, I can't do it, sir, I really can't.
Okay.
14, 1,000,
Yeah, so on that, she put her foot down, raised her arms more than 6 inches. She wasn't looking at her toe. She
Yep.
didn't raise her foot 6 inches, if I didn't already say that. Yeah, and then she was like trying to lift her knee up, like she asked him if she could do earlier, and he
Right.
said no.
Yeah, she did terrible.
Yeah. Also
so-
showed every indicator of impairment on that
Yes,
test.
she did. Now, this is an Illinois case, so we can tell you without a shadow of a doubt how this works. Each state is a little different in terms of doing all of these tests, but in Illinois, she could have refused those tests without any adverse effect. Now, granted, she would have refused them, right? And that doesn't look great. But other than that, there's no additional charges. There's no extra suspension of her driver's license or anything. Those were entirely voluntary.
If there weren't deaths, if this was just like your run-of-the-mill pulling her over and we didn't know her BAC, I would tell her not to take this case to trial.
Right. But it's really important to know you could, again, knowing the seriousness of this case.
All the more reason to invoke your rights because of the seriousness of the case. Like,
yes.
if you think about it and the officer arrives on scene and they see this accident and you just respectfully say, I'm not going to be making any statements and I'm not going to be doing any tests, what evidence do they have? They're going to say an odor, maybe your eyes, maybe your speech, but is that proof beyond a reasonable doubt that you were so intoxicated that that rendered you incapable of safely driving?
Right. And even if it arguably is, you're going to get a way better deal in court. This can be pled down, right? So-
Exactly.
yes.
And that's because the state's attorney knows that they have a burden. So if they believe they can't meet their burden, they're going to more play ball with you and negotiate.
Exactly
you know?
right. Again, I got to preface this. I know that there's fatalities involved in this, so I'm not trying to get her out of it. What's done is done. And do not repeat her actions, people. You'd be an idiot to do that.
Yeah,
right?
take an Uber.
Exactly. But from a legal standpoint, she could have refused that questioning. She could have refused all of those tests. And like you just said, what would they have then, right? A girl who's acting a little bit strange, right? You know,
Yeah.
like after being in an accident where the front of her car's crumpled, right? That's not a very strong case. Up until this point, that's not a very strong case then for the prosecution.
Yeah.
Next, is going to come, I'm certain, because that's what happens with a DUI, is the officer, the trooper, is going to offer her a PBT. You want to talk about whether or not she has to do that?
Sure. So yeah, PBT stands for portable breath test. It's something that they do on the scene, hence portable. She has every right to refuse that, which we highly recommend. Many police officers and troopers tell everyone this is not admissible in court, the results of the portable breath test, and that's not 100% accurate. It is admissible at a hearing regarding the suspension of your driving privileges. It's not admissible at trial.
The way I describe this PBT test is it's just the officer trying to confirm his suspicions.
This is called a PBT test. You ever blown one of these before?
No,
Okay. You know what the legal limit is to drive in Illinois?
I do not, sir.
Okay, 0.08, okay? What I'm going to have you do is take a deep breath, a long, hard, steady blow into the straw, just like you're blowing up a balloon. Keep blowing until you hear the machine click, okay? All right?
Blowing up a what?
Yes, ma'am. Take a deep breath, long, hard, steady blow. A little bit harder for me, a little bit harder. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay.
What's your guess?
If she's above a 0.08,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, she's definitely above. I think I'm sticking with my theory of, only drink 40 minutes ago, now 47 minutes ago or whatever, right? I think she's spiking. I think she's getting more impaired as this goes on.
Do you think she's above a 0.16?
Based on the fields, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so when she's above a 0.16, mandatory minimums are going to come into place, and especially when there's a death, that could make things so much worse for her.
Now, this isn't that
Right.
one, though. This is just preliminary, not
Right.
admissible in court. But, yeah, I think she's right around that, twice the legal limit, which would be 0.16.
The other thing, too, to note is the officer doesn't give her like an opportunity to refuse it. He just says, this is the PBT test, blow into
Right.
it, and so many officers do that with the fields and the PBT. That's why it's important for you as an individual to know what your rights are.
Yes, and totally legit for the officer to do that.
Right.
In fact, I think this officer is conducting a pretty good DUI investigation thus far.
He's really kept his calm, too, and he knows what's going on with the pedestrians.
Yes. And that's good police work.
Yes.
If he's starts berating her, how
Yeah,
dare you, you just
exactly.
hurt somebody or killed somebody, then yeah, she's going to clam up and not give him all the evidence she's
He
given him
needs,
thus
yeah.
far. Yeah, exactly.
Go to Bradley.
You're a Bradley student.
I graduate in 4 weeks.
You're a .264, okay? All right.
Shit.
Okay, go ahead and turn around for me and place your hands behind your back. You are under arrest for DUI.
So that's over 3 times the legal limit.
I can't believe she's standing and acting and walking as well as she is.
Yeah. What that leads me to think, and what a judge is going to think, what a prosecutor is going to think, is that she has an alcohol problem.
She has an alcohol problem.
This girl made a ton of mistakes, obviously.
She said she didn't even know what the legal limit is, which is like negligent in and of itself,
Right.
right? How can you make a determination if you're safe or legal to drive if you don't even know what the legal limit is?
Right. And so what is the default then? If you've been drinking, don't drive.
Don't drive.
That's the simplest rule. I do see people trying to calculate their BAC, and I didn't think I was over, but I really was, or
Yeah.
I was just over a little.
Or people have a strategy like drink a beer and then drink a water and only do that once an
Yeah.
hour. But there's so many factors. It could be how much sleep you got. What did you eat that day or that week? Like, are you on a diet? Did you change your workout regimen? Like, it could be anything, medication that you're on. Like,
Yes.
and I think the most important thing is planning ahead. Like,
Yep.
that's when you make the best decisions. Take an Uber out, you'll take an Uber home.
Yep, totally right. Yes, exactly. When you're sober and getting ready, decide how the heck, you're going to get there, and then you don't have this issue ever.
Right. And this is why you shouldn't drink and drive, because you could get hurt. You could hurt somebody else,
I once had a Chicago major accidents investigator tell me, I showed up at the police station because my client was in custody after a very serious accident. And the investigator was somber and said, I feel for everybody. There's obviously somebody very hurt. There's now somebody in handcuffs. And he was empathetic and said, you know what? Nobody woke up this morning planning for this to happen, right? And that wasn't a DUI either. And so the point is, I do feel for people. Nobody planned this, but it was totally preventable, at least the DUI part. I don't know if the accident was preventable. I don't know enough about it, but the DUI was absolutely preventable. They all are.
Yeah, and if you weren't under the influence, maybe you could have reacted better,
That's the argument in court against her.
Right.
Okay. Hang tight.
You're doing great. That's like, man.
All right. Come right over here and have me sit back in my car, okay?
She's still laughing.
Laughing, wow.
She still doesn't get it.
No.
All right.
Yes, sir. Whatever you say.
So you understand what we're going to do. First off, I'm going to let you know you did hit 2 people total.
I did not.
You did.
I didn't.
Okay. Okay.
See, now
However
she's
you wanna
drunk.
word it,
Now
yourself,
she's
that's
really
fine.
drunk.
Okay, I'm just telling you, there's 2 people struck by your vehicle, and both are dead.
I did not hit the
Okay.
people. I can tell you right now.
Okay. Well, I'm just telling you the 2 people that hit
Why
your
would I
car,
call
ma'am.
911
Listen.
if I...
2 people struck your vehicles, I'm telling you, and they're both deceased on scene. I'm just telling you that information, okay? We're going to go in here. We're going to do the thing. I appreciate you being cooperative so far. I got to tell you what's going on. You understand?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Come on out here this way.
She hasn't commented on that.
No, she hasn't commented on that, which makes you obviously furious,
Yes.
right? So
Again, though, it's like, is it the alcohol? And it's like the information's just not registering in her brain.
I think it totally is.
It's like, I'm going to argue about whether or not it's one person or two. What if you just killed one person?
Yes, I bet your BAC is now above 0.268.
What do you think about to the strategy of the officer there? Like, the investigation's not done, right? You want her to go in and provide a legitimate breast sample to use at the station. So are you going to tell her that 2 people died right
Right,
before
yeah,
that?
he didn't. He said, I just have to tell you. He didn't have to tell
No.
her that right now.
After she provided the breast sample, I think, would have been the best strategy.
Sure,
but-
yeah. As a strategy for the officer, you're right. But she right there. So they drove from the scene to wherever,
station, it
the
looks
station,
like.
wherever they're at.
Or it almost looks like a hospital, doesn't it?
Ah, yeah, it does look like a hospital. And so she got way drunker in the meantime. It seemed like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She couldn't even sit up. Her speech seemed a lot more slurred. Her
Which-
attitude wasn't as like positive.
Yeah, which is consistent with what we talked about, right? Like there's a delayed effect to consuming alcohol, and now here it is.
And it was not 2. If it was 2, I'd be crying, you know what I mean? I'd be like, oh my God, I did this. I'd be like, wow, this made a mark, but I know what I did.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go
So
to
she doesn't even
Vegas.
know she
They're
hit
gonna take
people.
me to Vegas. It's gonna be so fun.
She hit one and that they're
Right.
dead.
That's true.
That's not worth crying over.
$3. I'm gonna start off with 2 Long Island.
Yes. You ever had enough of drinking already?
We're talking about Vegas. There's no limit at Vegas, right? Have you been there?
She's hammered.
I swear to God, if you're
She's hammered. She,
I'm gonna be mad.
I don't think she's going to Vegas anytime soon.
no, I mean, I get it. It's
I'm not
bad.
gonna answer anyone's stuff.
In Illinois, at least, there are 2 ways of obtaining a blood sample in a situation like this. One of them is at the direction or request of the police, right? The authorities, whether they are just requesting it, which you can refuse, or if they have a warrant signed by a judge, right? That is the authorities requesting that blood draw. The other way is medical staff because they've deemed it medically necessary. And we see here in Illinois, they can sort of, officers will sometimes backdoor it, right? By saying, well, you look like you need to get checked out here. For the points you said earlier, like sometimes it's very advantageous for the police to have a third party, medical staff, check this person out. It makes their case stronger. We'll often see police bring somebody to the hospital, even when it's kind of iffy. And then it's pretty typical for medical staff to, it's pretty broad, right? If medical staff says, I got to do a blood draw in order to diagnose this, then medical staff kind of sort of got that leeway, right? And then that result of that blood that was taken for medical purpose can then be used against her in court typically.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what happens in that situation is the state's attorney asks the judge to enter a qualified protective order to get around HIPAA laws, and then they send a subpoena to the medical provider. They provide the medical, records, and it shows what the BAC is within the medical records.
Yep.
But then in this situation, I would say the officer's probably trying to get a DUI kit, so he would have to read her the warning to motorists. And then if she consents to it, he actually takes the blood from the phlebotomist, basically, chain of custody issues, and then they bring it to the Illinois State Police Crime Lab.
Yep.
And then we get a lab report, and then the lab technician plus the phlebotomist could be subpoenaed to testify
Yep.
in court. But the blood's much more reliable than the breath because you can make a bunch of arguments about the breath machine maybe not being calibrated or the officer's not certified or they didn't change the mouthpiece
Right.
or
Yep.
so that's why this officer's doing blood right away, which is smart for
Yep.
him.
This is all going to be used against her. And I mean, that part of it is a shame because she's clearly up, right? She may not be this person, sober, right? But
hope
yeah, right. But she's not going to get the benefit of the doubt here.
Well, your car is
A
totaled.
few people have died.
Your car is totaled.
Told?
Totaled, wrecked.
Okay, so
I feel feel like if I killed somebody, I
don't.
don't know how drunk I'd have to be to not understand that.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I'm thinking about what you said. You're exactly right. You hope nobody would be acting like this after they found out
Yeah.
that they basically. We said earlier, she's a 268. That's ridiculously high. Most people would be passed out, asleep. You know,
Yeah, maybe her brain just hasn't like accepted the information.
exactly
Yeah.
right. It's like shut off, right? You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
'Cause-
it's like, what is it? The lights are on, but nobody's home.
yeah, exactly right. Yeah, and you know what? That's true. And a lot of DUIs that we see. I mean, maybe not to this extent, but that's what makes a DUI difficult for a defendant if they're not familiar with it, because you are drunk, right? And you are kind of the deer in the headlights where you're like, well, tell me what to do next, officer. And you kind of follow their lead because by the very nature of it, you know, if you are intoxicated, you're intoxicated and you can't really reason as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right. Like first thing that goes, your judgment.
Yeah, exactly right. So, tough situation for everybody.
The
Here.
bond, you killed 2 people tonight. I don't think you understand that. You do not have a bond. You are not getting out of jail. Your car is property of East Peoria Police Department because it's a crime scene. It killed 2 people tonight. You are clueless with that, clearly. I've already explained this to you. You're going to jail for reckless homicide tonight. You're going to jail for aggravated DUI for killing 2 people. That's what's going on. So no, you're not going to school tomorrow. You're not getting your car out of impound.
Okay, the Tuesday, my night class.
Did you just hear what I just told you?
You said I'm not going tomorrow. I'm talking about Tuesday.
Did you hear when I said
You
that
said I'm
you...
going to jail tomorrow.
You're going to jail when we're done here?
Yes.
Did you understand what I told that you killed 2 people tonight?
Yeah, so I'm just wondering when I can go to school.
Okay, we're done.
And you know what? This officer, he had to vent. You know what I mean?
Oh
He
my
just saw two
God.
people die. You know what I mean?
Praise him for,
Ye-
I mean, keeping his composure with her thus far. Could
Yes.
you imagine him and he saw probably like the gruesome
Yes.
scene and then she's sitting there dancing?
Right, exactly. Yeah,
Um,
it would get anybody's nerves, get on anybody's nerves.
I wonder
say
if they'll
the
try to
least.
seize her vehicle too,
Yeah, probably.
like forfeit her vehicle permanently.
Right, yeah. Yeah, because like you said, it's a reckless homicide.
Right.
That car is going to be impounded.
You
and
used
seized.
your vehicle in the commission of a felony.
Yeah, she's not getting any of this back. She's not getting her freedom back for quite a while.
No.
You're all on body camera being completely careless about killing 2 people tonight. You could care less. That's sad and pathetic and horrible all at the same time.
Can you say that every time?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay, so can I ask when I can go back to school?
Well, to be quite frankly, I'm a little more concerned about the 2 people that are dead right now,
Right.
to be fair.
There's no way somebody could be that self-centered,
I
right?
know.
It's okay, they're taking me to Vegas for my birthday. In 2 months. That'll be fun. I just can't wait. Party.
She said, I just can't wait to party.
Ridiculous. That's it.
I was hoping that it would be one of those ones where we'd get a little recap about the case and her charges, but we could look it up.
We could, yeah, and we know the charges: reckless homicide, felony DUI.
I just wonder if the case is still pending since it's a little over a year old and like what was in her blood I was interested in.
I would guess it is still pending. I would guess, and total guess. I mean, they may have given her a bond, right? And then who knows if the family could come up with it and post it or not. But it wouldn't surprise me if she was still held no bond on this because
Me
she's
either.
going to prison on this case. Cases get resolved in one of 2 ways. Either you go to trial and say it wasn't me or I didn't do it, right? And the chips fall where they may at trial, or you reach some sort of agreement, a plea. Especially if this case is pending, I don't want to say too much, but based on what I see here, this is not a case that's going to trial. Like we talked about earlier, it's relatively easy to prove DUI in the sense that she admitted to driving the vehicle. I don't think there's anything that disputes that. The blood draw is going to show that she's well over the legal limit. And if it's 1 vehicle versus 2 pedestrians, she's going to be the proximate cause of their death, right? This is not a case that's going to trial. So then she's only got 1 path, which is reaching some sort of agreement, trying to find a prosecutor and judge who's going to be favorable.
Yeah, I mean, I think her only hope would be to try and allege that her intoxication was not the proximate cause of like the accident, and therefore their death. And I think we need to know a little bit more about that road.
Yes.
Yeah, that she was traveling on. But I don't see a prosecutor in the world reducing it to a misdemeanor. They would rather put it on and see what happens.
You're looking for a reducer to probably not even stay out of prison, but reduce the amount of time you're in prison. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, I know nothing about the accident, so I absolutely jumped to a conclusion there. It could be that she committed no traffic violations whatsoever, and these people darted out in front of her and was totally unavoidable by anybody, whether she was sober or not, right? But, that's something that the court will decide.
Yeah, and I mean, like her whole attitude, like if the state presented this evidence at a bond hearing, more likely to have no bond. When you're in a conference with the judge or sitting down with the state's attorney, like how do you mitigate her other than just blaming it on the alcohol and perhaps drugs? The only explanation has to be that the information was not registering in her brain. Like I just can't fathom that anybody is that selfish.
Right. At least I hope not.
Yeah.
But either way, her life obviously is never going to be the same. I could go deeper into the conversation about what to do if you are ever in this situation. And we talked about it a little bit, right? Do you make the statements? Do you not? Do you agree to do the test? Do you not? I don't think that's the focus of this video. I think the focus of this video has to be don't drink and drive. Like Kelly and I will be fine. There's plenty of people committing plenty of other crimes. Don't drink and drive. Yep.
Yeah, I hope that she, obviously is going to come out a better person, maybe get some help with her alcohol problem and
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing good.
Hopefully she's remorseful.
Yep, exactly. So traditionally we give grades to everyone involved after this. I mean, I don't think there's too much to talk about here. I'll say the officer did conduct a very solid investigation there. As you would hope if you were the family of those victims, right? I think he's got a pretty solid case, so I give him an A on that.
I would give the officer an A. I mean, we hold him to the standard of being able to conduct an investigation, conduct the field sobriety test pursuant to NHTSA, right? Because that's like his job. That's what he's been trained to do. But from a human perspective, like I feel like he could have totally lost his cool. He could have yelled at her, screamed at her out of frustration, and he was probably sick to his stomach, like seeing her reaction. So I really applaud him for, keeping his cool. He got the evidence that he needed out of her.
She made a million mistakes on this, the big one being getting behind the wheel after drinking. I think she had some issues based on the blood alcohol concentration and her reaction. She had some issues prior. She certainly has some issues now, being that she's got some very serious felony charges, NF.
Yeah, I would give her like the lowest grade you could ever give anybody. Obviously she shouldn't have drank and drive. We know that. We get that. It's not that she made all those statements that were against her interests, or that she did the field sobriety test or the PBT or agreed to the DUI consent, which we wouldn't recommend as defense attorneys. But just like her blasé attitude was just really hard to watch and also wrap your head around. And also I feel like that's probably going to be the number one thing that's going to really hurt her, like in negotiations,
Well, that and the BAC. Yes.
Yeah, like who wants to do anything for her? Like
Right.
they have no sympathy for her, you know?
In fact, the BAC that'll be admitted into court is this blood draw one.
I know.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was higher than the PBT based on what we talked about earlier, which I think her BAC was spiking this whole time.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was cannabis in her system and maybe something else too, which would be another aggravating factor. So
Yep.
yeah, she's in trouble.
Yes, she is. All right, there you go. That's our reaction to obviously a horrible video. We've said it a million times. Don't drink and drive. Sometimes it's as bad as having your license suspended or a bad record. Other times it's much worse than that, as was the case here. So it's never actually worth it. You don't want to actually have to hire lawyers like Kelly and I. So I hope, if nothing else, you take that away from this video, is that it's just never worth it. Thanks for watching.